Welcome to day 87. Happy Friday, everyone. Today's video, I want to react a bit to your reactions. And that's obviously a lot of reactions. That's reactions from the community, from our customers, reactions from the team internally, obviously social media, media in general, the press, and maybe give you a couple of tips if you are in such a situation. How do you stay sane? How do you focus on the task at hand? And kind of what's the best thing to do there? And look, let's kind of summarize everything. We've had an insane, it's almost a year now, we're end of August. The entire drama, at least internally, started end of September. So we're talking about 11 months, right? So for pretty much everyone here in the company, this entire drama has been going on for 11 months. And I think for 8 of those months, it was really only drama. There was very little productivity. It was a lot of fighting and a lot of left and right and a lot of uncertainty. And I think that was a very, very tough situation. And then there was those past 90 days that really allowed us to go from, well, actually, we should have closed down the company to, okay, we can continue. We do need to reduce cost. We do really need to focus. We do need to prioritize topics I discussed in the past 3 days. I talked about the team, talked about product, talked about marketing community. And so today I want to kind of take this a bit and see a couple of comments that I saw online, obviously internally the feedback, the press, the media, and kind of react to that a bit and kind of share a few thoughts when it comes to that, right? And so with all that, obviously there's a lot of different emotions, a lot of different thoughts. If I look, for example, at the team, it's very interesting. Obviously, you have the people that are staying. Very interesting from them is they have a bit of this survivorship guilt. It's a very interesting psychological phenomenon where people feel like, I get to stay and some of my friends have to leave. And I understand that this is very, very tough. And this happens in a lot of other scenarios as well, where you have these, events that sometimes are beyond your control. And I had actually a lot of conversations with people staying who really feel like, if I should get swapped with someone else, I would do this, right? And so it was very interesting to see that tight bond and that tight friendship among a lot of team members internally. From people leaving, it was also obviously you had actually a majority of people we had the numbers there, we had the growth there. People knew that we had to reduce some costs. It was inevitable. Most people knew because I was very transparent. Had we not done those 90 days, I would have had to close the company beginning of June. So us continuing is the massive upstep. And so a lot of people were expecting this. Obviously, they're very understanding. They tell me they would do the same thing. And then you always have people who obviously a bit frustrated, maybe scared, and don't know their path forward. And I think in all those situations, the crucial thing for you to understand, and in this case, obviously for me, but then let's say you're in the same situation, is it's always about empathy there. Everyone there, in my opinion, even though some reactions are very emotional, they are rational to a certain extent because it is very normal that people are scared. Everyone deals a bit different with the future, what's going forward, and especially for their personal lives, right? And I think that's always a very key thing. So that empathy there. And I think that's where you kind of, if you want to stay sane in those moments, right, you really have to kind of put yourself a bit into their shoes, but don't do this with guilt. That's the entire wrong emotion. You have to do that, right? The situation is what it is, and you have to make the best out of it. And feeling guilty there is not really justified. It's the exact opposite, right? At least for us, we've done our entire best. The only reason we're still around is because we've actually made some very good decisions in the past 11 months. But so you need to start with empathy, and that's so important. I think that's the base for all of this. Now, with customers, similar reactions, right? You had customers who are very concerned. Are my funds safe? I mentioned this so many times. Yes, your funds are safe. Actually, by us doing all this, focusing on the right products, focusing on marketing communication, reducing cost in a company is actually doubling down on keeping your products and coins and funds safe, right? So I just want to make this super crystal clear. And at the same time, I do understand when people are concerned, and it comes with empathy again, right? And at the same time, I really want to say a huge thank you to people who are so supportive, not only internally, but also externally. It's really incredible to see how people are rallying behind us and really supporting us there. And obviously, then you have the entire talkers. You have the haters, you have the critics, you have journalists, media. And at the end, you need to understand their side as well. Their side is they need to create the drama. They need to hate. They need to criticize. They need to, be read, right? So it's always those topics that you need to understand from a grand scheme of things. So in that first kind of thing that I want to kind of address, staying sane in those moments, I think the first part really starts with showing that empathy and showing that understanding. Because while you're not trying to feel guilty, while you're not trying to kind of identify with them, you want to feel for them and you want to understand their side, right? That doesn't mean that you're going to go to their side. That doesn't mean that you're going to join their emotion. It just means you understand it. I think that's really the crucial first part. And believe me one thing, it is so easy to talk about this. It's so easy to listen and watch this and say, yeah, that makes so much sense. But when you're actually in it, I promise you, it is 50 times harder. It doesn't matter on which side, right? Whether you're being let go. I talked about this. I talked about myself being let go in actually my past company and how difficult it was and how dramatic it was. And it's the same thing as letting someone go, right? It's always that kind of side. So I think that's really where it starts. And then at the same other side, it's really for you to focus on what is really important right now. And for example, I'm just giving you a couple of things, right? I think more than ever at the moment, I really have my main to-do list. I have my main outcomes that I really need to focus on so that I don't waste time on social media and be like, oh, what are people talking about us? What are they saying? Really that I focus on the key things. The same within the company, right? I mean, obviously you have groups now. You have people who are like, I'm being let go. Let me find other friends who are being let go and let's talk about this, right? And the same, you have people who are staying and they're kind of building groups and trying to stay out of that drama a little bit and just understand that it will always be there. And I think that's such an important kind of factor. And then last but not least, it's obviously showing the empathy, having the right focus, and then kind of tied to that is really who are the people that you're going to surround yourself with during those moments, right? And I can give you a really good tip. If you only surround yourself with the people, in my case, who are staying, you're going to get very one-sided. You need to also spend time with people you are actually letting go so that you see both sides. But here's the crucial part. You need to have and you always know this, you have those constructive kind of opinions, right? You have people who have to leave, but they're super constructive about it. And so this is the group you want to have so that you see and you kind of have a really good sense for both of those sides. Obviously, on a personal side as well, this weekend, for example, I spent quite some time, obviously I talked about this, we celebrated my wife's birthday, but we also actually had friends that I was seeing independently, and one of them was actually a founder who also had to have actually quite a up and down with their company. Right now they're actually doing really well. But they've had a massive difficult time 2 years ago. And it was just really, really helpful to kind of talk about that turnaround, right? Because for me, I feel we're at that turnaround now where it starts going up again. And so kind of talking and kind of sharing a bit of those emotions. And I think that's always super, super, super helpful, just being able to talk about those things. And so I just wanted to share that a bit on what's going on in a bit of a sense. It's weekend coming up. I'll talk about two things. I'll talk a bit about preview for the business, ideas, things we're looking for, and then a bit on for my personal kind of thing. I'll do a bit of a holiday, something I haven't done in the last 11 months. And I want to spend some time with the kids, with the family, and just kind of taking a bit care of myself on that. And then obviously on Monday, it's day 90. Gonna reflect a bit, review a bit, and close all this off. And a big note I just want to mention, day 90 is not the end of everything. It's the end of those 90 days. It's of that sprint, of that full-on hustle. But afterwards, we're going to be continuing. We're going to be communicating. We're going to be posting and talking. Obviously, not at the same frequency and intensity. That was the entire idea about those 90 days. So have a beautiful Friday, everyone. See you tomorrow. All the best, Julian. Bye-bye.